encourage you to stay to the end, because we've got some fantastic bonuses that we'd love to offer you, some special extra discounts that we're offering for those of you who stay to the end and who are really serious about moving into the space of coaching and making a difference in the world. So as we take another breath and really come into our presence, type into the chat box, please. What is it you want to get out of this next hour? What do you want most? I'd love to hear that. As coaches, we're always supporting people to get clear about our intention. Tips for catching the attention of audience, especially online. So Salah, hopefully you will experience that and see it in action tonight. Raid, improve in coaching and learn new things about it. Super, yes, you're in the right place. Am I saying your name correctly, Raid?
Yes, you are.
Fantastic. Diana, knowing the skills of a successful coach, fantastic. And Diana, you're going to be hearing them towards the end. I'm going to explicitly talk about them, but I believe you will also be experiencing them in the call and have started to experiencing it from the beginning here. Anyone else? What are you here for? What is the purpose of you giving your most precious gift, which is your time here? Tips to encourage learning and be out of the routine. Oh, I'm going to be stretching you, Sama, so you're in the right place. You're going to be stretching yourself, actually. That is the role of a coach, not to advise, but to really support the client to know who they are, know what their comfort zone is, and know where they want to go. So I'm going to move back into sharing my screen, and there will be time for questions at the end, as I mentioned at the beginning. So let's move through tonight's call. So please know that you are in the right place if you're thinking about becoming a coach, not just any coach, but a world-class coach that is in demand. Right now, I've closed my list for working with one-to-one people because I've been inundated. And both Janine and I have noticed a massive demand for executive and one-on-one private coaching. I'm recommending at the moment my clients who want to work with me, either they go on my waiting list or I'm recommending to some of the coaches that we have trained. You're in the right place if you want to move your life onto a new level, if you know there is something meaning and purposeful for you in life, but maybe you haven't discovered it quite yet. You're in the right place if you want to be a self-leader, both personally and professionally, and that your decision-making process becomes easier for you. This is what coaching does for you because it aligns with our values, our purpose, and our mission. And therefore, making decisions for our life purpose becomes so much better. Of course, these brilliant ways of communicating with the world, they help us create great relationships, not just with our clients, but with the people we love most dearly, and most importantly, with ourselves. And if you want more abundance in your life, then by reframing, using the skills of a professional coach to reframe your patterns of thinking, being, and doing, this is what can create the abundance. Of course, action is required if we want to create anything in the world, but it begins with who you are being in the world. And that's what we're going to experience tonight. So we've done the housekeeping already. If a question comes up throughout, type it in the chat box or write it down. And yes, let's have a fun experience as well as learning what coaching is. So here's Janine and I'm on the left, Janine's on the right doing the painting. This is us when we were probably 3 or 4 years old. these two little girls from the opposite ends of the earth, who both of us grew up very shy, and both of us went into a field of careers. Janine went into finance and I went into the world of advertising. And these two careers did not fit our values. We didn't discover it until we were in it, but something felt amiss with what we were doing. And we knew that there was a bigger purpose in the world. And luckily, we went through our lives uncovering our purpose and happened to meet in the fabulous Doha, right in the middle of the world. And together we recognized that we had a dream to make a difference in the world and also make it easy for coaches, primarily at that time, people who wanted to be coaches in the Middle East, not to have to travel outside of their land. We wanted to make it easy for people to get coaching in the Middle East. At the time we set up, you had to go to the States or the UK. Now the world as we know it has changed. We can all do this online, but at the time that was our mission. As you can see, we've worked with some top organizations, both bringing one-to-one coaching, executive coaching into these organizations, but also creating a culture change. So training people within these organizations to really use the skills of coaching to make a difference. So not all of these people wanted to go on and become a professional coach, but they did want to implement the skills in their workplace. So what you'll take away from sticking with us tonight, you will understand what it takes to, what the difference is between coaching and other forms of help. You'll have an experience and you'll take away a tool that helps you understand where you are right now in your life and where you want to go. And we'll look at those 5 things that makes a coach exceptional. And as I said to Diana at the beginning of the call, hopefully you'll be experiencing it as well as we move through tonight's call. Please stay to the end. You're going to experience the coaching process. You're going to get these slides at the end. And also you're going to get these fantastic bonuses that I talked about. So we've got a very short time to cover a lot of material. As I say, save any questions to the end and I'll stay around if there is the need. So what is coaching? Well, we go into this much deeper on the live training and we differentiate what is coaching versus therapy, versus counseling, versus training, versus consulting. There's, as coaches, we stick with a code of ethics. Oops. If you could mute yourself if you're not talking, I appreciate that. Thank you. We stick by a code of ethics and we don't cross our boundaries of coaching. So it really is important to know what coaching is. So I'll give you a very simple example. You want to ride a bicycle. You want to learn how to ride a bicycle. And so you ask a consultant, and the consultant, they get on the bicycle. They test the bicycle out, they cycle the bicycle, they get off the bicycle, they write a report and they hand you the report and tell you how to ride a bicycle. A therapist may ask you when you fell off the bicycle, how old were you, what happened? And they may spend a lot of time in the past processing the effect of falling off the bicycle and what happened to you as you created beliefs about yourself in that moment of falling off the bicycle. Now, I know I'm generalizing here. There are different forms of therapy, but to make it as simple as possible, here's my analogy. A coach will ask you to get on the bicycle right now in this moment. They'll ask you to determine where you want to go on the bicycle, first of all. And then they'll ask you to work out how the bicycle fits for you, where to put your hands, where you decide where to put your feet. And also you determine when you want to start moving forward. All the time, a coach will stand beside you holding the bicycle if required. And they'll be helping you check in. Is the goal still aligned with your values, your mission, and your purpose? Or if another way comes forward, is that truly what you want to do? So by listening deeply and asking questions, the coach walks beside you as you learn how to cycle and how to move forward at the speed you want to. So I know that's a simple analogy, but I hope it shows the absolute difference of a consultant, a therapist, and a coach. Now, there are many, many more nuances, and we go into the coach training, developing your awareness of that. But let's get into an exercise. This was something that really changed my life. If I tell you a little bit of a story before we do this exercise, when I was in your shoes, all those years ago, thinking about starting a coach training, if I step back a few months, I had 3 small kids. I was happy in my life, but I knew that there was something more fulfilling I wanted. I had heard about coaching, but I didn't know if I was cut out for it. I didn't know if I had the ability to stick at it. And those 100 hours that felt absolutely daunting to me to become a coach, how was I going to get 100 hours and do this work? So there were lots of questions, but it was my dream. But because of my own limiting beliefs and fear of taking action at the time, and maybe upsetting the apple cart, because remember, when we want something new, not everybody wants that for us. So when I put my dream in a box, I kept it quiet, but it still kept speaking to me, still kept tapping me on the head and shoulders saying, come on, you know you want something different. And I happened to go to a party, a friend's 40th party, and in walked this woman, and for want of a better word, she was almost glowing. And I was like, what has happened to her? And I was so fascinated, I moved towards her and started a conversation. And she told me she'd just come off a coach training program. Wow, that was my wake-up call. As she talked about it, I could feel my passion rising and rising. But I actually was a little bit scared because at the time my husband had lost his job and I just didn't know where I was going to find the finances to start moving towards what I wanted. But I did. And I made a commitment to myself that after the first weekend, because I learned so many skills, I believed that I could make a difference to my client's life. And so I started charging, and I earned enough to pay for the next stage of the training. And the results that my clients were getting were so remarkable. I was getting referral after referral and referral, and had the courage to increase my prices. So eventually I was able to move through the training and reap the rewards. If only I'd known all those years when I was saying, no, I can't do this, it's not for me, that I wish I'd had a crystal ball, let's say. But this was one of the first tools that I was introduced to, and it's called the Wheel of Life. And it's an incredibly versatile tool. You may have come across it before. It can be changed to the wheel of work. It can be changed to the wheel of values. It can be changed to the wheel of timeline management. It can be changed to the wheel of architecture or psychology. Whatever you want to create, this wheel is a fascinating tool. So I'm going to invite you to pick up your pen and paper and draw your own wheel of your life right now. Draw a circle and break it up into these little segments. And I've put some suggested titles for you to have on there, but then you may want to have others. You may want to add travel. You may want to add spirituality. You may want to add being one with nature. This is your wheel. You create it. This is your life. So I'm going to give you just a short time because I know that you can continue this work after the webinar. This is just a taster for you. Create your wheel. And I can only see a couple of you, but if you can give me a thumbs up when you've created it, that will help me know when to continue. And I would say, go with your gut on this. Don't think about these areas too much. just go on the areas that are important to you. And as you're completing this wheel of life, I'm going to ask you to put a 0 in the center and a 10, a number 10 on the circumference. And just give me a thumbs up when that's done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so trusting you're all keeping up with this, and I said again, you can do more deeper work after the call. But right now, this is the important question. Out of 10, right now, in this moment, how satisfied are you with each of these areas of your life? So I want you to put a number in each of these segments. And if you like, you can draw the segment color that represents it. Draw out your life in these segments. Out of 10, right now, how satisfied are you? Okay, now, when you recognize how satisfied you are, what is it like to have this bird's eye view of your life? What are you noticing? Please type in the chat box when you look at your life like this, what is it you're noticing? Diana, that you still didn't reach your dream. Great noticing, Diana. And as you notice that, find out what is happening in your body as you notice this. So our bodies are constantly giving us feedback. We say that emotions are the signposts that keep us on or off track. So notice what's happening as you see that in your system, Diana, and notice what impact that has on you. Love to hear anybody else's thoughts about what it's like to look at their life like this. I notice I need more relaxing and recreation time. Great noticing, Raid. So just by doing this simple exercise, you've probably known it already, but by doing it, you're confirming, yes, I'm doing so much. I need to add some more time for some of the things I love to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Raid, how does that feel within you as you notice that?
I believe I just need to reflect to myself on how do I give myself, more, let's say, more attention, and taking care of myself in a better way, because sometimes when we are in work and we are under pressure, we just forget simple things that to take care of ourselves, so that we can, and how to refresh, so that you can give more actually, and you can be a better person, a better worker.
Absolutely. It's so beautiful that you say that. We talk about this in the coach training, that actually we need to put our own oxygen masks on before we can help others. And if we run out of breath, then we're going to die first, and then the others can't survive. It's like that analogy on the plane. As coaches, we start to walk our talk. And throughout the coach training program, we're constantly looking at what matters most to us. What do we say yes to? And what do we say no to? And what are the consequences of that? I've recently said no to a lot of things. Boundaries are a big part of working with clients and helping them discover their boundaries. Saying no sets us free to say yes to the things that we want to. So thank you so much, Raed, for sharing that. And Courtney says, I read into a lot of things, but when looking at my wheel, there isn't actually a problem. Look at that, Courtney, that change of perspective already. I can see it in your physiology with your smile and this recognition. What's that like, Courtney, as you recognize this new perspective?
That when obviously I do feel a certain type of way in regards to certain situations happening, that obviously just kind of like wait, think about it, and then go back to it at a later date.
Yeah, fantastic. Because many times our minds are constantly filled with the stories we tell ourselves about things. This is what we do as coaches. We unpack the client's story and help them to redefine the story. Remember, there's your truth, there's another truth, and there's always another truth in between that, and maybe another one. So we're constantly supporting the client to find out, what stories are you telling yourself about it? Is it true? And how is that impacting you? And if it isn't true, what are you going to do to get the different results? Fantastic, Courtney. And notice your physiology changes as well. So our physiology is 58% we communicate with the world through our physiology. It's only 7% the words we use. The rest of the time we're communicating with the world and with ourselves through our bodies. And on the coach training, you learn how to support people, first of all yourself, to understand your physiology, understand your patterns of behavior and reactions and emotions, so that you can get different results. Thank you so much, Courtney, for sharing. Salah, the size of each slice of the pie changes as we go from one phase to another, but we must be aware of the moving target. Yes, Salah. So awareness is everything. As coaches, we support people to take the things that we can't see, our blind spots, and bring them into our awareness. And of course, once we're aware about something, we can't not be aware about it again. We can stuff it under the carpet and keep tripping over it, but we can't say we don't know about it. And that's our jobs as coaches. We are the detectives that help bring the blind spots into the person's vision so that they become aware. And of course, if they want to, only make the changes that move them forward. Fantastic. So I know everybody else on this call will have realized something new right now in this moment, even if it's a small awareness. The awareness is 95% of the journey of change. The next 5% is looking at taking action to create what we want. So let's continue with this. You've got your wheel of life. What I'm going to ask you to do now is I'm going to invite yourself to put your pen and paper down. But as you look at your wheel, think about an area that you would like to shift to another level, right? It could be that relaxation and taking care of yourself. So just notice, what is the area that you want to focus on? Make a choice from your gut feeling, from your heart. And put down your pen and paper as you take a breath. And allow yourself to go on a journey in your imagination. Remember, our mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. And as coaches, we support clients by our voice, by our ability to slow things down, by our ability to support the client to tap into their unconscious and all of their senses. So if it feels right for you as you take a breath and look at something you want to focus on, just sit back in your chair, and if it feels right, close your eyes as you give yourself permission to go on a journey. Another deep breath now. That's it. Really relaxing into your body and trusting your imagination to go out and create what exactly you want, when it is as you want it to be. How are you being in the world? Just answer to yourself. How are you being in the world, in your work, in your families, with yourself? And when it is as you want it to be, how are you moving when you are creating what it is that you want? When it is as you want it to be, what are you noticing that's around you when you are creating this success, this fulfillment? Allow your senses to just be flooded with whatever it is that you are meant to notice. And when it is as you want it to be, how are you speaking about what you are creating? How are you speaking to yourself? How are you speaking to others in the world about what you are creating right now? And notice how they are responding to you when it is as you want it to be. And when you see all of that and hear all of that, how are you feeling when you are creating this? When it is as you want it to be, what are the emotions you are experiencing? Even put your hand and place your hand where you feel those emotions in your body. And knowing that you're at choice to determine how you feel as you create it. Just turn the volume up on the emotions you want to experience. And notice how that impacts your physiology. And move your body into that state. When it is as you want it to be and you are feeling these beautiful emotions, what's your body look like? What does your face look like as you are seeing the world through this emotion, as you are creating exactly what you want? Place your face, place your smile, place the way you look at the world behind your eyelids, and notice what happens physiologically within you as you create this. And as you see all of this, hear all of this, and feel all of this, what does it give you? What else does it give you? And what does it give those around you as you are creating this success and fulfillment in this way? What's the ripple effect of those around you? And when it is as you want it to be, and it gives you all of this, and it gives those all of this, what does it give the world? When it is as you want it to be. Turn the volume up. Turn the volume up so it feels absolutely right for you. You are in charge of all of your emotions, all of your thoughts, and all of who you are being in the world. Notice that it may align to your values, your purpose, your mission. When it is as you want it to be, and your mind is creating it right now, what else is important for you to pay attention to? Take a deep breath, locking in all that you need to remember as you go out on that journey of creation. Another breath now, feeling the weight of your body on the chair and your feet on the ground. And another breath now in your own time, opening your eyes and typing into the chat box, out of 10, how much do you want this that you have just created? Out of 10, how much do you want this? Right, 10 out of 10, right answer. So just again, notice what that's like as you know that it's in your desire, 10 out of 10. Same with you, Courtney, 10 out of 10. Diana, same thing, 10 out of 10. When it's 10 out of 10, it's aligned with who you are and what you want. Sama, 10 out of 10. Fantastic. So just notice what that's like in your system and the ripple effect that you're going to have if you choose it. And notice if it's not, for those others who haven't typed in yet, if it's not quite a 10 out of 10, perhaps it's not truly what you want. Perhaps it's somebody else's vision. So what happens to us as human beings, we set goals. The reason we don't achieve our goals is that because they're not aligned to ourselves. They are other people's desires and hopes and dreams for us. If it's a 9 out of 10, it's not how much do you think you can achieve it, it's how much do you want it in your life. So be aware of that. Great work, everybody. So take a deep breath again. Locking in all that's important to you. Thank you and appreciate the 10 out of 10. Again, notice how that feels. And let's continue. So everything you want to create is just outside your comfort zone, right? So that thing you want, it means perhaps stretching a little bit. It means that, oh, it's gonna be a stretch for me, I have to do that. So before we go into the stretch, let's have a look at your reality. And this is a process that we can use in coaching. You've determined a goal, you've moved the client towards success, and now you're looking at their current reality. What is your reality now, right now, as you look at that area of your life? How far away are you from that 10? Write a number right now in the chat box, out of 10. What's your reality? 5, Courtney, fantastic. You see the gap, yeah? 6 says, and Diana says 6, Raid says 8. So notice again what that feels in your system. Sama, 6 out of 10. And this is where as coaches, we support our clients to get really curious, but because it's in the gap between the reality and what the client wants is all of the limiting beliefs, all of the excuses, all of the values that aren't being honored and lived, all of the saying yes to things that don't matter and forgetting about self. So it's all in that gap, and through deep listening and curious questions, and lots of other skills of reflecting and noticing and challenging and championing and mirroring. The client supports, the coach supports the client to discover their own answers, because there is no advising required. We believe that the client is naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. And I believe you are too in this journey as you are creating what you want. So thank you for being honest with yourself, because this is the most important thing about coaching. It's not about pleasing the coach, it's about being honest with yourself in your current state. So let's continue. So in this gap, what are your excuses? What is holding you back? Type into the chat box, what excuses are you giving yourself for not having achieved this yet? Because remember, everything that we want, we haven't achieved yet. So there's reasons. Courtney, I'm saying fantastic. You know what I mean when I say fantastic. What other people think. This is a common reason why we hold back. We're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of potentially not being good enough, not being perfect. And maybe the backlash is going to be too much. And maybe if we stretch ourselves out of the comfort zone, it's going to be scarier than we think. So that's a really common excuse, particularly with women, if I could generalize just for a moment, particularly with women. And Raid, there's a belief that you are not getting the chance yet. So notice it's a belief. So is Courtney's. There's a belief about what other things. And same with Diana, look at that. I need more qualifications. I need more experience. I'm afraid of the unpredictable career switch. Look at that. And if anybody was present with a call when we started with Diana, she's filled with qualifications. She's filled with experience. And yet these excuses are being told again, until I get the next certificate, until I do this, I'm just not good enough. And I was filled with those excuses too. So I hear that. And Courtney, the what will other people think, that was a biggie for me. And so many people judge me as I step forward into that journey. And yeah, I'm not getting the chance. It didn't come my way. It's not time for me yet. All of those, being too young, love it, Courtney. Being too young, being too old, being this, being that, being the other. It's recognizing that these are excuses. Sama says, age, money, for university acceptance. Yes. So I have coached young clients. I'm coaching a magnificent 23-year-old client in China right now. And she is up for serious leadership potential, but she doesn't believe she deserves it because she hasn't got the age behind her. I coached a woman 10 years ago and she was 45 and her excuse was she was too old. And she went through the coaching program. She reframed her thoughts about herself. She now has a really successful nutritional practice in London. 10 years later, she keeps coming back to me and saying, can you believe I thought I was too old? So it's all excuses. It's our BS, our belief system that we keep believing. So it's challenging. We say on a coach training program, never believe anything you tell yourself. So we want to challenge that. So just type into the chat box, knowing couldn't be sometimes reality from what we see, sometimes. So we want to check on that reality, Diana. We want to check if it's true or not. But 90% of the time, the story that we tell ourselves just isn't true. And sometimes there is a belief that you cannot challenge the system. Perhaps and perhaps not. So many people have broken out because they've challenged the system. So it's knowing that. So let's have a look. What are these excuses costing you? Because it's your life. Courtney says leadership positions because she doesn't even apply, because the belief holds her back from thinking, I'm not good enough. One of the core human needs is to belong and to be good enough, Courtney. And so you're hurting yourself by that belief of I'm not enough, right? Connections, connections, connections. Great. So you notice that. What are they costing you? And how are they holding you back from creating your vision for yourself and others? And again, pay attention to what it's like as you're creating this awareness for yourself. Your emotions are signposts to tell you when you are on and off track. Diana says she's not taking action. That's right, because unless we get this, I won't take any action. And notice that we push things out into the future. I'll be happy when I get that next certificate, when I get more experience, then I'll be good enough, then I'll be capable enough. And actually, you are enough right now. Right now, you know more than most people that are looking for your help. You know more than most people. And this is what we say to our coaches in training. After day 4, you can start coaching people, because the skills and processes that we teach you mean you are way ahead of the clients in understanding what you can do for them. Let's have a look what else is here. Sal says, I think to challenge the system needs some confidence and a safety net. Can I take all the possible outcomes? Perhaps it is about confidence, and that's a self-belief, Salah, and perhaps we need a safety net, and perhaps we don't. So it's always challenging our assumptions about things. This is what we're doing. We never assume anything as world-class coaches, because when we assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. My grandmother used to say that to me all the time. I have the qualifications, but no chance to get where I can give more, potentially. So we're going to have a look at that corrupted world. We're going to have a look at that belief, Raid. We're just going to have a look at it, because maybe that's not true. And maybe it is. So we aren't going to deny the external factors of our life. There are, for example, coronavirus is out there. There's nothing we can do about it. But how we, apart from getting the vaccine when it comes, if we want to. And maybe
I think Raed is talking from a Middle Eastern perspective. This is why he is.
And so remember, as you say that, Diana.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Diana got it. I think, it's we are in a different spot of the world. So.
Yeah. And most of my clients are in the Middle East. And changing their belief system has been world changing for them. And men and women who are caught in societies that have certain beliefs, the same as the Western world, by the way. So many beliefs that keep us trapped within our system. So yes, it takes courage. We say on the coach training, it is a radical act to live a fulfilling life. It's a radical act to choose yourself. It's a radical act to choose fulfillment over not. It means that people will be upset. I've experienced it in my own life. Janine's experienced it in hers. But when you are aligned with your values, purpose, and mission, it becomes easier to make those decisions. So let's continue. There are always choices out there, always different options. Of course, it means upsetting the apple cart. So have a look around you now, thinking about what you want to work on, and just have a look at possibilities you haven't even thought of before. What are some of the options that are just out there that you haven't realized until just now that could be possible for you to take? And scribble them down. We're not making any commitments yet. Just for yourself, look at all of the options that could be available for you. For example, Diana, you could just say, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now. It's time. Courtney, there could be a change of belief that's there, that's ready for you to pick up and say, I've had 20 odd years of experience in my life. And I have so much to give. I am enough right now. So just notice those options and possible choices that you could take, and stretch yourself a little bit more. So what happens when we let our imagination go out there, our brain moves into the prefrontal cortex and allows us to have a bigger vision. So as coaches, we challenge our clients' thinking. We stretch them way outside of their comfort zone. So they may say, oh, no, I'm not doing that. But because we've stretched ourselves so far, the options feel, the other more realistic options feel possible. So knowing your possible choices out there, you've got awareness of this. Knowing this, ladies and gentlemen, what will you commit to tonight, tomorrow morning, this afternoon, today, that will take your vision of fulfillment and move it one step closer towards that 10 out of 10, maybe 2 steps closer, maybe even 3 or 4, but will start moving you towards what you want. It could be a radical act, or it could be a small step that will take you forward. What will you commit to? And trusting your gut, and if you feel happy with this, type it into the chat box. What is your commitment? Resistance and persistence. Do the first step, Dan. I'm trusting you know that what that first step is. You don't have to share it here, but you know what it is. And again, notice what's happening in your body as you commit to this, Diana, because just before a shift happens within us, potentially there is a sense of fear or anxiety as we step into it. Let's reframe that and say that actually it's excitement because we're moving outside of our comfort zone rather than fear or anxiety. So whatever you're feeling, just notice. Yes, I hear you, Raid. Resilience, not resistance. Super. Courtney, applying for the leadership position. Woo! How does that feel?
It feels, I don't know. I feel, obviously there's a lot of planning to do to obviously go for that position. It just feels very daunting.
Yeah, okay.
I know I think the thing is for me is that when I'm in interviews, I do get a bit like kind of like starstruck, and like explaining what I can do and stuff isn't really something that I do. I'm more of like a shower, like I will show you how I can do something instead of actually telling you.
Okay, so potentially it's something to do with, even before as you're applying, it's working on self-management and communicating effectively in these interviews.
Yeah.
And so by applying for the interview, does it mean you're going to get it?
No.
What does it mean though?
That I'm going to get the experience for the next time.
Yeah. And then if the next time doesn't happen, what does that mean?
Just keep going.
Yeah. And what will that do for you if you shift your belief and start taking some action?
I'll believe in myself, like I know that I can do it. It's just not that right time.
Okay. Yeah. And if doors are closing on you and you've tried many times to get it, what could that be an indication of? That
position or that area of, for example, like education may not be for me. Maybe I need to look at something else.
Right. So nothing is set in stone, right? There's always another way of looking at it.
Exactly.
Or potentially it means that if the doors are closing, you need to create a new door for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In some way, shape or form. Fantastic.
100%.
Yeah. Now, how are you feeling right now, Courtney, as you notice that?
I feel like I'm obviously happier because I've noticed it, and I now know exactly how I can obviously work on, you know, like allowing myself to believe.
Yeah. And this is a muscle that needs building. So
Yeah.
the old muscle of I'm not good enough has had 20 years to come into your system. When we build new muscles and new neural pathways in the brain, it is about practicing it. So your brain starts to think, oh, I can do this.
I think it's also because when obviously I did go for a leadership position before and obviously didn't get it. And for me, it obviously knocked my confidence and also my beliefs. I think it was obviously, now that I'm looking back, I know that obviously it wasn't the right time. I'd only obviously really been in the position for like, well, in the school for like 3 months, and obviously I wasn't able to kind of like shine the way that obviously I was able to after that. I don't feel that they actually like really knew who I was, and obviously like now they do, and now they, you know, would potentially see that I either am obviously right for the job or not. But yeah. I think, yeah, it's just obviously looking at it in from a different perspective.
Absolutely. I remember when I came off my coach training, I was determined to work for the company and deliver for them, but there were no spaces.
Yeah.
I could have got very upset about it and not done anything. And then I took a different opportunity that came my way to create my own, with Janine, our own training school, and do all the things that I really wanted to do with the other organization, which I'm so glad now that I didn't do. So it's a lovely perspective that you're coming with. Just acknowledge that.
Yeah.
So let's continue. As I said, it's going to be a whistle-stop tour. You've all experienced something. What you have experienced is this trust building that as coaches we do. These are the secrets to becoming internationally recognized, building trust with our clients so that they feel safe enough to open up. And that's done in so many ways. There's so many psychological safe ways we can support our clients. And I trust that you've experienced a little bit of that tonight. There is deep listening for what is heard and not heard at an intuitive level. So coaches were paying attention to the physiology, to the sound of the voice, to the blinking of the eye, to what the client is saying and not saying. Because have a look at somebody. When you can tell when somebody walks in the room what their energy is like. They may have a smile on their face, but you can tell if they're feeling down, or they may have a frown on their face, and you can tell if they're feeling happy. So we're listening not just to the client, but to ourselves as a self instrument. We use ourselves as instrument in the coaching conversation to support the client to have awareness for themselves. And we show you how to do that. There are ways to communicate and ask questions to support the client to open up their awareness. There are different types of questions, those open and closed questions that we all ask, but there are magical questions, there are clean questions, there are systemic questions. So we really go and expand our awareness of how to speak with people so that they are tapping into their natural creative resourcefulness. We support people to stretch outside their current levels of thinking, to think outside of the box and create new perspectives for them. And of course, that's all great, but we support the client to decide upon courageous actions, or non-actions, because sometimes we need to stop doing things in order to achieve our goals and aspirations. So these are the top 5 things that you've experienced tonight and that you absolutely can put into practice when you do the coach training. So let's come on to that very, very quickly. We will teach you these effective communication techniques of building rapport, powerful questioning, active listening, understanding the body, how to provide effective feedback so that somebody starts to see themselves in a way that they haven't before. You'll learn specific coaching models. You've got one beautiful tool that you've taken away tonight, the Wheel of Life. We'll introduce you to many different tools. We'll bring all of our learning over the years into it and share the different models and perspectives that can support us to do this work, and show us the attributes of being a successful coach and having effective coaching conversations. We'll bring in all our knowledge of how human behavior and the mind works within the coaching conversation and how it has an impact on our communication and behavior. And we've talked about this beautiful decision-making process, and how by tapping into our values and holding these values as we walk through the dark, they can help us make decisions effectively. You'll take away specific coaching process scripts so that in the start you'll have tools that you'll be able to go to and take out and take your clients through. And then when this gets in your bones, you'll be able to let the scripts go and make it your own. You'll see masterful coaching practice at play. You'll watch the demos from the front of the room leaders, myself, Janine, and our other fabulous trainers. Not only will you watch it, you'll go into breakout rooms with partners and you'll practice it. Whatever we teach on this interactive program, you go in and practice straight away. There's videos that we set you up with for pre-learning that you can go back to and remind yourself throughout your journey, and as long as you want, because we don't just let you go after the coach training. You're welcomed into the Empower World community. We have Q&A calls, we have webinars, we have alumni events, and you have all the learning of the videos that you can use at your convenience. You'll watch the steps to become a professional coach by observing, and then you'll put it in practice. You're part of a wonderful community, as I said, and you'll be able to get the support of others. So, for example, knowing that you need to build your 100 hours, you can work with other coaches in the community to exchange coaching services and build up your hours that way. You'll get the freedom to live life on your terms, because not only will you be learning the skills, but you'll be going through your own personal development journey, and you'll be tapping into what matters to you most. And then you'll be choosing, of course, if you want to put that into practice. As you know, our next cohort of training begins on March the 26th. It's 8 weeks, 8 Fridays from Doha time, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's UK time until the clocks change, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's, as I said, it's supported by video modules to prepare you. So when you come into the live training, it's really action-packed and interactive. We are not sitting for 6 hours just looking at a screen listening. You are moving, we're getting up, we're doing creative work, you're moving with pairs, triads, quads, coming back to the room. So it's highly interactive. We use different things like Jamboard so that you're creating online as well as doing creative work on your papers in front of you. There's additional support to find out who you are being in your work that both Janine and I will add to this. And it's worth thinking, if you are wanting to become a credentialed ICF coach, that the credential requirements are that you attend minimum of 60 hours of coach-specific training. Remember, our program is 94 hours, so you're way over the basic requirements. That you complete 100 hours of coaching, and as I said, you can do exchange of coaching with other coaches. You can do exchange of coaching with friends and family. If you've got a hairdresser and she wants coaching or he wants coaching, you can do exchange of services for the paid hours. You are required to have 10 hours working with a mentor coach who listens to you coach and gives you feedback. And that's part of our combined program. The whole program covers that. So all of the requirements are there. Then you send all of your requirements in, and the ICF sends you notification to sit the assessment, which is a multiple choice assessment based on the core competencies. You've got that one recording from the mentoring program that you'll get. You'll get more than one, hopefully, but you'll get one that we know is going to successfully pass. the requirements, and then you can call yourself a credentialed coach. That whole process from starting coach training with us in March and then moving through the training, doing your 100 hours and mentoring to submission takes approximately between 9 months and a year, depending on how quickly you do your 100 hours. So if you're working and coaching in your workplace, you can count those hours as paid hours in the workplace. So if one of our participants, she did this in 6 months because she was building up her 100 hours of coaching in the workplace and was able to do it. But on general, it takes between 9 months and a year to do this process. You can determine how quickly or how fast you do this. So I'm going to miss out on what others have to say because we've run over a little bit already. We've got a lovely video by Shannon who took part of our program. So when you get the video, when you get these slides and the recording, hopefully you'll be able to listen to this. Here are a plethora of our coaches from around the world, and we have got coaches from every continent on our program. They're doing a phenomenal job. Have a look at them, check them out, see what they're doing. They're really making a big bang in the world of coaching. And here we are, you stayed to the end, and here are the gifts that we're going to offer you tonight. The standard investment rate for both the coach training and the coach mentoring. And remember, the mentoring is listening into your work and getting that recording that successfully passes. That standard combined rate is 33,000 Riyal plus the joining fee. Now, we are actually, the early bird rate was up on the May the 15th, which is tonight. So I'm going to extend that. Let's see what date it is today. I'm going to extend that date to the 19th of March. And please, if you are doing this, please state that Marie said that the extension is going to happen to the 19th of March. The discounted super early bird investment is not 33,000 plus the joining fee. We're going to waive the joining fee, and the new rate that you're going to pay for the combined coach training and mentoring is 21,000 Riyal. So you can see there's a massive, massive saving for you. Now, not only are we dramatically discounting it, we are also giving you 3 bonuses. And bonus 1 is valued at 8,000 Riyal, and that is access to our business mentoring program. It's 8 hours over 4 sessions, and that is going to support you to set your business practice up for success. Bonus 2 is that you can join our advanced coach training module, How to Win Clients, and set up a successful practice from the point of getting clients and enrolling people to work with you. And bonus 3 is that you have the opportunity to join our program complimentary anytime in the future that you want to. So 3 massive bonuses plus that huge discount on the investment rate. So if you want to take a screenshot for that, if that's something you're interested in, please feel free to do that. And of course, you don't have to take both the combined program. If you only want to do the coach training, you can do that. But it is a massive difference in the investment rate if you choose to do the combined rate. So if you have any questions, I'm going to stay around for 5-10 minutes after this webinar to answer any questions. But of course, if you know you're in, if you know this is the right step for you, send an email with the title "I'm in" and stating that Marie has extended the early bird rate to the 19th to support@empower-world.com so that you can receive all of those bonuses. And I'm going to stop the screen share now and open it up in case there are any questions about the process.
Yes, actually, I have a question, just a general question for this the coaching. So now, for example, for me, I am a researcher and I'm really switching from a doctoral to research, from research to coaching. And this step is a little bit like, I don't know what to do the next step. So this is why I thought of the program. But do you think I can apply for coaching positions without having this ICF and then meanwhile do the program, or it's really a requirement for all the coaching positions? So I know I will do it anyway, so for sure I will do it, but I just want to...
It's a great question to think about with your experience as in the researching and psychology. There is a difference. There really is a difference in how coaches work in a practical way to how a psychologist work. And
Sorry for interrupt you, but I am a biologist and a neuroscientist, so I'm not a psychologist. Research in neuroscience,
yeah. So we are, in our experience and all the applications, when we're invited to put a proposal in, the requirement is that the coach is ICF certified. That's what they're asking for. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, that you can get a position without being certified. Perhaps that's out there, but I know any proposals that we're asked to put forward, the organizations are wanting the coach to become to be certified already before they do the work. Of course, within organizations, some people are putting their staff through the coach training to get them certified. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that that's our experience.
Yeah, I'm thinking meanwhile, what should I do? Because I will stop research in June and I want to continue with something, and so I need this transition, this phase between finishing the ICF and then starting the coaching. So maybe I should do something else than some pharmaceutical. I don't know.
Diana, I would say you don't know unless you apply.
Yeah.
So if you're applying for a position and you're enrolled in a coach training and they see you're serious about it, they may look at it and say, actually, you're motivated, you're investing in yourself, you've got all the skills we want. So I wouldn't say discount that. I'd say test it out.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anything else? Thank you to all those who are saying thank you. I appreciate you staying, and hopefully it was useful. I appreciate you saying that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no questions, and of course, if something comes up, you can reach out to us. Please, if we don't believe in selling the program, but we always believe that the right people come to our program at the right time. I know there are a couple of places left on the program, so we'd love to see you there. In the meantime, know that we have a podcast. I don't know if you've already listened to our podcast, Empower World, the Coaching and Leadership Podcast. Janine have done lots of episodes, not just sharing our experience, but also some interviews. So please take a listen and see if it's useful for you. Thank you so much for spending this lovely hour and 20 minutes with me today, and have a fantastic evening, and hope to see you all soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Have a lovely evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.